How's it going, everyone? Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Carly Cowan, a wedding photographer based in Houston, Texas. Carly is more than just a photographer. She's your personal hype woman, dress fluffer, and the expert at capturing those authentic, unforgettable moments. In our session, Carly dives deep into her passion for photography, demonstrating her entire process from culling to the final edits. As she walks us through her editing workflow using Polarr Next, Carly shares her raw feedback, highlighting how Polarr Next can become an essential tool in her work, and she's excited about where Polarr Next is headed. Join us as we explore how Carly brings her unique style to life with Polarr Next. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, I've got Carly Cowan all the way from Houston, Texas, here with us today to share her thoughts about Polarr Next. But before we jump into all that, I want you to introduce yourself, Carly, and tell us who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Aaron. My name is Carly. Like he said, I'm in Houston, Texas, and I'm a full-time wedding and portrait photographer. Um, a little bit about myself. So I'm 30 years old, and one of the cool things about my photography, I feel like, is I bring a lot of experience to the table at a young age. So kind of how I got into taking photos. My mom was a wedding photographer growing up. It was just me and her for a lot of years, and so she would bring me to weddings with her. She gave me a camera and said, "Here, stay busy." And I would run around at these weddings. I would be 12, 13, 14 years old, and I'd be taking pictures of people. I'd say, "Hey, stop, let me take your picture." And they loved it. Um, and my mom realized really quickly that I was good at it and kind of eventually just let me take over. She was like, "Man, your pictures are looking better than mine."
Oh,
Um,
man.
so from that point, it was whoever would let me take pictures of them,
Yeah.
um, family or friends or my friends' families or seniors.
Hmm.
And I never really stopped. So it was a side job for a long time and a hobby. And as a college kid, I would charge 25 bucks if I could pictures of you or
Wow.
your family. Yeah, we've all been there.
Hmm.
And then I started teaching full time. So I was teaching a yearbook class. I was teaching a little bit of
Wow.
photography basics, and I also taught like English and Spanish. So kind of just a whirlwind. And then COVID hit, and I decided to go full time just before COVID hit. So that was a really crazy time to start a business.
Hmm.
To
Yeah.
be isolated away from people, and it kind of requires like, seeing people in person to take their photos, but
Yeah.
somehow made it through that. And now I'm doing weddings and portraits full time. I'll do seniors, families, babies, sports teams, anything with people. I really like.
How is it with like word of mouth and like the community with your photography business? And I'm assuming just family, friends, people that you've known growing up. Is that like a pretty strong avenue for like getting business or getting
Definitely.
referrals out?
I think having a little bit of a community kind of established, or I don't even want to say clientele because I was
Yeah.
like, 15 saying, "Will you give me $25?" But I
Yeah.
established a little bit of a connection with people who kind of trusted that I would take good photos.
Hmm.
And I really don't utilize a ton of marketing or search engine optimization, that kind of stuff, just because I feel like word of mouth, at least here, is my best strategy for marketing.
Hmm.
It's really snowballed and worked to my advantage, which I'm really grateful for. People just post their photos and talk about, their experience, and that goes a long way. People just referring you to a friend or a family member
Yeah.
has gone way farther for me than any like boosted ads or anything like that.
Yeah. What kind of scenes, landscapes, like vibe do you go for? Like, what do you try to emulate?
Yeah, so Texas is cool because it's really big and really broad. Um, where I'm at in Houston isn't necessarily the most geographically fascinating landscapes.
Yeah.
Uh, so that requires me to be a little more strategic when I'm shooting in my hometown.
Hmm.
Um, I would say, there's a big push right now for like authentic, true to life. I feel like people are focusing more on the connection in the photos more than like a big fancy setup, especially like with wedding photography. It's
Yeah.
kind of Shifting, I feel a little bit. Um, Flash is a big vibe right now.
Hmm.
Flash outdoors is a big vibe. I do a lot of high schoolers and they all have their little mini flash and they go outside at sunset and they want that look, that filmy look, the flash
Yeah.
with like still the background visible. I don't know if that's a good way
Hmm.
to describe it, but
Horses, animals, countryside. Is that also something that people like look forward to, or is it with a specific type of person?
I think it's different
Hmm.
from person to person and area to area. So like I said, I'm in Houston and um, it's interesting because you can drive an hour in any direction and you're going to get a different kind of look. We have trees and tall grass and fields everywhere.
Hmm.
And that's a really popular, I think, kind of landscape for photos, especially like seniors or group photos or families
Yeah.
of the field. And that's all we have here. Or we like to do sometimes city. So I live pretty close to downtown
Hmm.
and that's a fun mix up. Sometimes I get tired of the tall grass and the trees and the barns. We have a lot of barns. So we'll mix it up and go into the city depending on, the person and
Yeah.
or for their session.
Makes sense. I love that answer. Because like again, just thinking about, when I shoot on Maui, there's literally a limited amount of places that you
Sure.
can
Yeah.
go. There's a lot of places that are restricted to photographers from the DLNR where, you'll get fined if you shoot certain beaches and things. So there's really like a limited number of places. And as vast as our island is, there's a lot of open space, but that space is occupied. It's owned by somebody, like, so you're trespassing. So do you also need to get permits to like shoot certain places, or is a lot like just open? You can go wherever you want to roam.
There's a lot that is open. A lot of the parks and like gardens around Houston, they require a permit or they will ask you if you've, purchased a permit. But it's
How many
it's
times have you been asked?
in my life, maybe 10.
Okay.
For a good stretch of time, I could get away with it and just say, "Oh, I'm a student and I look young. I'm 30, but I look young." But I think
When you said you're 30, I was like, there's no way. There's
I
no
know.
way.
But as I got older and people started seeing my camera got bigger and bigger, I
Yeah.
think it happened maybe 2 months ago. I was out doing a city rooftop shoot. They wanted, the skyline, and I got all the way up to the top of this parking garage, and you're driving up and up and
Yeah.
up because I'm going up and up and up, and we get to the top, and my clients come out, and I'm like, "Yes, you look beautiful," and they're like, "Yes, let's do this." And then the security comes walking immediately. He's like, "You can't shoot here." I was like, "Oh man, I'm just practicing and just for fun, like little old me." And he was like, "Not with that camera." You're right.
That's so funny. And it
It
was
was
the
really
guy like
fun.
much older.
Yeah, he was older.
What is your editing workflow today? So you go and you shoot a wedding, come home with like 5,000 images. What's your workflow?
Yeah, so I'm a certified overshooter every time through. I'm always going to. That high speed continuous is a beautiful thing, but it kills me every time. So what I've been doing the last couple of years, that's kind of worked for me, but probably could be improved upon. I will take all of my photos off the card and import into my external hard drive because, don't want to crowd up my computer and storage. So I'll put everything on an external and then I like to cull through the photos. So I've been using a different software for that. I've been
Hmm.
using Capture One right now for culling just because I feel like it groups it pretty well, the similarity. Um, it saves some time and then I'll take just those 5-star ratings and would move them over to Lightroom, and that's where I would apply my presets, masking those types of little things. And then if there are any major retouches, then my last step would be to send that all over to Photoshop. So kind of a
Hmm.
longer 3-step process, but it's just been what worked for me.
Yeah.
Uh, Culling was fastest one way, and then all of the presets and batch editing was fastest one way, and then all of the retouches was fastest another way.
Yeah. So in Capture One, you would 5-star the images. Okay.
Mhm.
So Capture One, I haven't been in there since like 2022. But the culling is manual. There's no like AI selecting anything for you.
Yeah, there's no AI selecting. It's really just grouping them by similarity. And
Yeah.
so I like that it does that because I can still physically go through each photo. And
Hmm.
that's one thing with AI that I would have been maybe a little bit concerned about is, okay, maybe I want a photo with their eyes closed. Like maybe they're laughing and their eyes are closed
Yeah.
and it kind of automatically would discard that. And so I like to go through that myself and be able to select some of those photos, but I like having that similarity grouping because then I can say, okay, these 50 photos that I held my shutter down for are exactly the same or
Yeah.
different. And let me take the top two from those.
And what was the reason for you culling in Capture One? I mean, aside from the grouping, was it because Lightroom is just so slow going through your images, or?
Yeah, so I was using Lightroom and I would go through and I would 5 star and then I would 5 star and then I would 5 star. And I'm doing this thinking like there has got to be a better way. Like my computer is slowing down
Yeah.
insanely slow. It's processing. I can see it just spinning. Lightroom would literally like it would shut down. It would stop. It would be like, "This is too many photos. You've been on here for about 3 hours now, 5 starring, you're done."
Yeah. Is that mainly a Mac or a PC?
I've used both. I used to be Windows all the way.
Yeah.
I recently switched back over to Mac, and I've found that it is just it doesn't matter. Yeah, some huge things for me is like time and storage. I'm a really, really busy girl. It's a one-woman show over here, and that means I'm doing the website, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing, photographers understand you're running a lot of things, you're wearing a lot of hats. And I'm constantly shooting. And so storage and time, like I just don't have a lot of either of those. I'm constantly getting a new external hard drive and putting all of my images on that and then
Yeah.
uploading from that and then exporting back to that. And so that has been an ongoing issue the length of my career. And as long as you're shooting raw, huge
Yeah.
photos, it's always going to be a thing. You run out of space and your computer slows down, and that is so frustrating to be like working through and trying to work through these photos and
Hmm.
Lightroom shuts down. So that's been something that I really have like tried to find the right solution for,
Yeah.
and hopefully maybe this will be a step in the right direction, I think.
Hopefully. Before we jump into Polarr Next, have you had any experience with like Imagine or Aftershoot or any other type of AI
Not a
program?
ton. Yeah, so I haven't used Aftershoot or Imagine a lot. I've
Hmm.
dabbled a little bit, but I don't know. There was a little bit of conversation, I feel like, in the community, the photography community at first, like, is AI going to take our jobs? And is this
Yeah.
like ethical? Like, we're just kind of creating these things that aren't there. And I feel like, and this is really mostly speaking for myself, but I feel like could be true for most creatives in the industry too. For the most part, we're not using AI to like tailor and create these outlandish images or change people's appearance in a crazy
Yeah.
way. It's usually just kind of removing distractions and fixing
Hmm.
things just to enhance,
Yeah.
the what's already in the image. And so I didn't go deeply into like Imagine and After Shoot at first.
Hmm.
I had already established a system that was slowly
Yeah.
working for me. But yeah.
Nice. Okay. So I'm excited to see what your thoughts are. And for those who are watching, I mean, if you watch any other interview, like we really try, I remind my guests over and over, please just be real and honest. And even if it's bad or good, we want to hear that raw feedback just so that we can improve later on. So let's go ahead and switch it up. I've got your screen open here. And there we go.
So I have an album I was gonna upload specifically for this
Okay.
demo. So I'm gonna go to create new project and import that. So you can either drag and drop or just select a folder. I'm gonna go to the one that I have on my desktop specifically for this. So I labeled it.
Perfect.
I have about 150 maybe photos in there. So I'm gonna let
Okay.
it edit my files. And I like to do so far this create new style just because I
Hmm.
think it's kind of still adjusting to my editing style. I'll
Yeah.
maybe implement a preset that I have that I've been using and then tweak it from there. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to create a new style, and there's this express setup or there's the advanced one. I've been doing advanced.
Hmm.
And so the difference, I guess, is just setting up 1 versus maybe 6 to 12 or maybe more
Yeah.
reference photos. And so you'll see what I'm talking about once I get into it. But it sets up, it kind of pinpoints different lighting situations, different landscapes even, and has you edit them and then marks them as a reference so that it can AI generate or process the rest of your images. So I'm going to go ahead and upload those.
Perfect. Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm really loving so far. It's so fast and everything is happening right here in real time on my browser, and I'm not like sitting and waiting on it to.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Hey,
Um,
jeez. That's
yeah,
so
so this is
funny.
from a wedding I did in Dominican Republic, and I just kind of
What?
selected some of the photos from throughout the day.
Yeah.
Um, so that you could get different lighting, different situations. So it has selected, it looks like 12 right here, reference edits. And so what I am gonna do is just kind of show you how I edit with this. So far, I've already imported one of my own presets over here.
Yeah, you
Um,
got a lot.
yeah, so it's like a little pack that I have, and it was so
Nice.
easy to import my Lightroom presets.
Hmm.
Um, if anyone is curious, you can import it right here. You can create a preset, you can import a preset, and that's what I did to get this one here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over to my user presets, and I've been liking this. It's like editorial pack, I think is
Mm,
what that EP stands for. It's an EP2.
yeah.
And what's cool about Polarr is that it is going to kind of automatically apply that to the
Do
rest
you
of my.
like that?
I love
Is that
that.
preset? That's
It's
cool.
intuitive, it's user friendly. It kind of knows like, okay, this is your base, this is where you're going to start at, and I can still tweak it and change it if I
Hmm.
need to. So I like that because with batch editing in Lightroom or other editing softwares,
Yeah.
it's either you apply it to one photo or you apply it to all the photos the same. Whereas so far with Polarr, it kind of tailors and changes based on your liking and the lighting
Yeah.
situation. Mask it, so I'll show you a little more. So this is this first photo. I went ahead and added my preset. It kind of put it across all of them. And what I might do here is just kind of bring some highlights down a little bit. I like contrast. So my
Hmm.
editing and my photography style, I would say, is pretty true to life. I like, blues to look blue. I like greens to look
Yeah.
green. But I like a little bit of color and some vibrant, contrast in my photos. So I usually end up bumping that a bit.
Hmm.
One thing I would probably do here and that I'm thinking is going to be helpful across my photos is use this masking tool.
Hmm.
I'm going to create a new mask and do just the sky. So it's going to select most of the sky for me. I'm going to bring those highlights down a tiny bit. And you can already see if I take the overlay, show overlay off, it just brings
Yeah.
out a little bit of that depth in the sky that I like to have. Um, and I'm honestly pretty happy with how that's looking.
Yeah.
One thing that I haven't seen in Polarr that I would like to have would just be like an automatic chromatic aberration fix.
Yeah.
I personally like to shoot wide open a lot. I
Okay.
like that look, and so I end up a lot of times like I don't know if it's going to be in this particular photo. It's really not because we had a good day. Um, but I didn't have a ton of chromatic aberration here, but
Yeah.
I it in some of the other photos, and there wasn't like a quick fix for that.
Okay.
So I'm liking how this is looking. I'm liking the sky being just like those highlights pulled down a little bit. What I would do is mark it as a reference and then go to my next suggested photo and kind of do the same thing. So this is similar. It applied the preset already. It looks like I'm gonna maybe up the contrast a little. I like to pull some shadows, and
Hmm.
this one's looking like a little warm to me. So I'm gonna pull some colors. ooh, a tiny bit here. And it looks like it already did like an auto straighten,
Hmm.
which I love, saves me a little bit of time. There have been a few cases when I've been playing with it and I go in and I'm like, oh, cool, it already auto straightened it. And then it's like sideways.
Yeah.
But that's been like a very rare occasion. So
Okay.
I might even like pull in some more on this one. I don't love like the exit sign and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty user friendly. I can zoom in. I can, change things a little bit here and there. And I like to bring that luminance and noise reduction up a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I'm gonna mark this one as a reference and keep on going along.
So
This
as
one's
you
looking,
keep going, one
yeah.
thought is your preset, you work with it a lot in Lightroom and then now you're in Polarr Next. Like, where's that difference? Do you feel like there's a big drop off or you just got to work it a little bit to get it
No,
back to
no,
what you're
I don't
used
think
to?
there's a big drop off at all. I would say it's honestly it really like adjusts to the changes I make. So even when I
Hmm.
edit in Lightroom, I'll apply a preset as like this is my base and I'm pretty much tweaking every photo or every
Yeah.
set of photos a little bit here and there, whether that's highlights or shadows or color grading the tiniest bit, cropping.
Hmm.
I don't think it's been a big difference so far between editing with a Lightroom preset and bringing it into Polarr.
Okay.
So it's looking
Nice.
good. Um, this I think it kind of really already like adjusted
Hmm.
a lot of what I like, but I'm gonna bump that contrast a little. And I kind of want to bring some saturation into this one.
Such a cool location. Already
Yeah,
loving.
it was so hot, but it was beautiful.
Was this like recent?
This was just a few months ago,
Okay.
so not long. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking, and you'll see once I get to it also, but I have like 10 probably photos in this location, and what
Nice.
Polarr is gonna do is it's gonna remember this one, and it's gonna say, okay, you brought the highlights down, you brought the contrast up. We're probably gonna do the same thing on the next 9 photos that look just like this.
Okay.
So I'll reference that one, go to the next. This is from the ceremony, just like a little walking moment. I'm gonna
Hmm.
mask this sky again. Um, and it automatically names it sky, but if I were to like create a mask and do it myself, like on that first image where it didn't get the entire sky, I could brush it in
Hmm.
and actually like rename it right
That's
here to
cool.
sky or like rest of sky.
Rest of sky.
Photo the rest of the sky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the sky that it selected for me because it did a good job.
Is that a feature that like you just I'm pretty sure like you can't rename mask in Lightroom from what I
Not. And
remember.
I love that because I will sit in Lightroom and I will have like a mask for their skin and then a mask for the
Yeah.
middle corner of the sky and then a mask for this spot in the sand that was dirty and then I have to click through all 7 of them to figure out which one is which and show the red overlay. And so
Yeah.
just being able to name them really easily um, is huge for me.
Hmm.
It saves time. It's just easier to be able to quickly say, okay, this is the mask I put on the grass. Um,
Yeah.
and and
It
then
seems like such a nice little quality of life improvement, you
it's
know?
such a small thing, but it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And it kind of like does that for the rest of your photos too, which is really cool. It'll remember like, oh, you had arm here. We have another arm in this photo. So you can see this one adjusted my lighting quite a bit, and it was already a like a bright photo because the video added like a fill light on our couple here. And so typically I probably would have brightened this photo up, but it
Hmm.
already kind of did that for me. So I'm bringing it down just a little bit. And I'm gonna denoise just a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, this one 5,000.
Yeah.
So when you shoot like normally like stateside, do you have like flash and everything like that? But when you're traveling, it's kind of harder to travel with all your
It's a little
like
harder.
stands and
So
everything.
yeah, with this destination wedding, I did one on-camera flash and one
Okay.
off flash, and that's all I traveled with, lighting wise.
Hmm.
And it worked fine, but when you're going overseas and you're taking only in your carry-on, it's like, what can I realistically fit in here? And
Yeah.
I opted for just packing pretty light. Now I've lost my mouse. There it is.
I've
Okay.
noticed that most of these images were shot also with your 28 to 70.
Yeah, that has been my workhorse since I bought it. I used to be really like a prime lens girly through and
Yeah.
through. I probably didn't take my 85 millimeter off for like, I don't know, like a year, unless I was shooting a wedding and I was in a really tight space and I would throw a 50 or a 35 on. But I got this 28 to 70
Yeah.
and it's been just like the most amazing, versatile lens that still has that f2.
Yeah.
Which at first I was like, oh, f2, that might be a little high for me
Hmm.
because, like I told you, I like to shoot pretty wide open. I do a lot of portraits, just like seniors or like a person or two people. And so I love that creamy bokeh in the background.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's been something I've been kind of playing with here. Where is, oh, okay, so I'm gonna bring these colors down just a bit. I'm trying to get through these reference edits so we can
Yay.
see how it's going. This one's fun. We got a
Yeah.
little exit, some reception lighting. They're having fun. No crazy color grading here. I feel like maybe a tiny bit magenta. And I'm gonna improve the saturation a little bit. And I kind of want those shadows to be a little shadowier. Okay,
Hmm.
so I've done my 12 reference photos.
Nice.
Yep. And I've adjusted all of those. I've kind of tweaked them a little bit to my liking. And then I'm going to go to finish my AI style setup. And it's going to take those photos that I just edited and apply them to the other ones around them. So that's one thing that I think is really cool about Polarr is you can see it processing in real time and it goes
Hmm.
so fast. It's using AI to tailor each image and its lighting and the masking that you've already put in, and it's using its AI brain to do it for you. And so it just saves a little bit of time. It makes such a difference for me to go in.
Yeah, look at that.
Like if I'm working through 50 family photos and I have to go in and wait for Lightroom to manually select the sky and spin on all of them, that's a minute of photo. You do that 50 times, that's an hour almost.
Yeah.
And it just adds up. And so having something that kind of intuitively knows, okay, you genuinely like to shoot exposed properly. So that means we're going to have to bring those highlights down on the sky. So
Hmm.
it's pretty cool. You can see I have 113
It's already
process.
done. It's finished.
It's already done. It's already done all of it for me. So then I would kind of go in and just like fine tune. It's already processed. I don't know if there's much I'm gonna change here. Maybe bring that highlight down a little, contrast up, and it looks good. And what's cool is as I make those little changes, like I made two tiny changes and it is going to lock it so that it doesn't go
Hmm.
back to like the original AI that it had done for it. So it keeps in mind, okay, you made a small adjustment, we're gonna keep it locked,
Perfect.
not edit it again. So that's pretty cool. Kind of same thing. I'm liking how these are looking. So this was the reference photo that we
Hmm.
edited, and then there's like several more around them that are just like dudes walking, being cool. And you can see that it like took what I already did and
Yep.
applied it for me. So it applied this sky, and of course it doesn't do it perfectly. Like it's working with a lot of sky over here, but it saves me time already just knowing, okay, some of those highlights that we can find, that's enough for me just knowing this is a sky and not like a white background.
Yeah.
Um, and it already did that for me, which just saves me a couple minutes per edit. Same thing. Same thing. It did the sky, or it didn't on this one, but that's
No,
probably
that's okay.
not
Yeah,
so
it does sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. So
Um,
that's awesome that it kind of just picks up on the things that you've done.
Yeah.
around photos and applies them. Even if I were to like probably take one of these and say, okay, I want all of them like way warmer,
Hmm.
um, it would adjust the ones around it to make those also then
Yeah. I
warmer.
was curious. So in your settings,
Mhm.
in that setting tab, have you turned off forward only processing?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah. So we have that on by default because mostly photographers will work left to right. But if you do want it to go backwards and adjust what's behind you, then you would turn that off. And then, so if you turn that off and then hit mark as a reference, then you'll see.
It'll go back and kind of
Yeah.
fix these.
And
So
that's one thing too that I would suggest is these ones that you're adjusting that are getting locked. Definitely hit those as references as well. Just because the more that you do that, yeah, the more the AI will learn.
okay. No, I thought it would just kind of keep it in its pocket and be
There you
like,
go.
got it. Yeah, so it's cool. It already looks like it like warmed these up because I have it in the forward only. I didn't do the back processing. But if
Hmm.
I did take that setting off, um, which honestly is probably still useful because it would go back and fix these unless I locked them.
Hmm.
So this is one of those that I did the reference photo earlier. This was the reference, and these were a few around it with just like,
Yeah.
slightly different motions. And you can see that it already like cropped it in for me, which is
Yup.
what saves me 1 minute of, editing out that exit sign.
Yeah.
Um, Keep those. I don't think I really have any tweaks I want to
We
change.
love that. Straight out the gate, these look really good. And the entire time that we've been chatting and like you kind of demonstrating everything, like have you experienced any lag,
No,
any
not even a
slowness or
little bit. Not
anything?
even a little bit of like, okay, it's spinning, or let me report your problem to Adobe. I don't want to
Yeah.
report my problem. I just want to edit my photos.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's been nice. It's been very user friendly too. Like there hasn't been a point where I'm like, where in the world is the masking feature? Or where's the brush feature? Like it's
Yeah.
all pretty user friendly and intuitive, I think.
Hmm.
Um, I have, played in other programs, and so I don't know if I'm just like really, really good. Um, but I think that it's, easy to use. It's easy to find the adjustments I want to make if I want to make
That's so
changes,
nice. Yeah.
and it will like kind of adjust to my liking. So it does adjust a little bit based on lighting. Like these are obviously a lot brighter than
Yeah.
like they're facing different directions. So the sun is on them versus these, they're like
Could I
backlit.
see the before on that?
Yeah, so that's a cool thing I've liked about Polarr too is I
Wow.
can still look at that before and after, even if it's just with the preset only, even if I don't put anything on it, even if I want to play with some of the like Polarr already AI styles that they have.
Hmm.
If I want to play with those, I can like look at, okay, this is my raw photo and this is with the changes. And am I still keeping things like pretty true to tone?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, these are fun. I like having
Nice.
before and after and being able to switch. One thing that we did in here, or that I did, is I
Yeah, the
used
spot heal.
the spot heal to take that like branch or whatever it was out of the dirt, and it did like apply
Missed.
it, but it didn't hit the exact right spot. So that's okay. That doesn't bother me. It still tried. Uh,
Good job, little buddy.
it did a good job. It was like, I mean, it was just a slightly different, but it's already there. And it'll
Yeah. Well, I'm curious if you hit that other one, 8662, mark that as reference and see if it will apply that spot heal.
yeah. So let's see.
No.
Not on that one. It is on this one. So it seems like it's kind of like figuring out, okay, where is this
Yeah.
trying to get rid of? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Um, Granted, it's working with like a big area of like
Hmm.
white and beige tones, so that might be part of.
Yeah. And honestly, like this spot heal tool is still kind of like when we built it, it was still just more of like a basic spot heal tool, kind of like what Lightroom has. The ability to transfer the the spot heal to similar images is kind of like a after benefit of just how Polarr Next AI works as far
Yeah.
as applying, updates to similar images. But we're still pulling on that thread. And I know like in the future, like retouching
Yeah.
things like that it's going to get better. And that, like that's what I love about Polarr Next and like the company's vision for its thing is like we are building this photo editing program like based on newer technology. We're completely utilizing a web browser for this. It's kind of insane.
It's awesome.
And it's fast and it's honestly like I don't know. I don't want to put this in your mind or anything, but like for me, it's kind of made like editing fun again,
Yeah.
just because I'm not like, waiting around for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Gosh.
back to just real time. It's just adjusting. There's no lag, no whatever.
Yeah, no, I could definitely get behind that because editing it it's a two-edged sword, it's time consuming, it's tedious,
Hmm.
and it can become something like burdensome when you have thousands and thousands of images and you're trying to work through those and you're trying to edit them and you've got this like spinning screen or it's just
Yeah.
taking forever. But it's also where the magic happens and where you like really make your images your own and bring in your own style. And so I think it's been fun and cool to like see my style develop as
Yeah.
I went through Polarr and note like make more noticeable notes, I guess. I don't know if that's the
Hmm.
right way to say, but like, okay, I genuinely like to shoot wide open, which means my sky is going to be maybe too exposed, but my subject's going to be properly exposed. And so generally, I'm going to need to mask my sky and it's going to remember that for me and do that moving forward.
Hmm.
Um, I can import that even to other projects, new galleries, stuff like that, which makes it a lot more fun and a lot more just like, okay, I'm making these images my own, making them pretty, and
Hmm.
not spending so much time just like troubleshooting.
Really, really great demo. Like honestly, you just nailed it. All the different features, everything. It seemed like you've pretty experienced with it. So with all that experience, I did get chromatic aberration, maybe the sky mask. Sometimes it works perfectly flawless. Sometimes I feel like that can improve. Any other things that you feel like Polarr Next can improve on? Like I hear that you're 100% like comfortable with delivering client work through it, but is there anything still like, I guess the question is there anything that's like holding you back from just like not using Lightroom anymore and using Polarr Next?
Yeah, so I've thought about that actually because as I've worked through more galleries, I've been like, well, do I want to edit this one in Polarr or do I want to put it in Lightroom?
Yeah.
I've kind of dabbled a little bit back and forth. And so some of the key things I think that I would like to see that would make like, it really easy for me to make a full switch over. Um, Chromatic aberration, you already said that. The AI denoise is a big
Hmm.
feature that I think is super useful. Just in my industry, I'm sometimes having to crank that ISO up. Um, I think maybe we talked a little bit about the sky masking, but just like more masking. It already has subject, background, and sky, which I think are the
Yeah.
basic ones. I do I do love that Lightroom will pinpoint like you can do just your clients or your subject's skin or their eyes
Yeah.
or their iris or
Yeah.
just their teeth. Those are things that are nice to have when you need them.
Hmm.
Um, I don't necessarily want to use that in every single photo in every single session, but
True.
when it's needed, it's nice to have it in one spot. So I would say just like more expansive on the masking tools. Maybe some culling somehow in there. If
Okay.
I could have everything in one spot, that would be ideal for me because I'm so used to switching softwares, switching from Capture One to Lightroom to Photoshop, and
Yeah.
even After Shoot sometimes or Camera Raw. And if everything was in one spot, that'd be a perfect world. But
Yeah. That's really good feedback, and I will definitely clip this and make sure that our team sees it. And that's a good thing, honestly, because what you just kind of listed off are just we're getting to the deeper features now. This last year we were focused on cranking out a program that can handle just your normal everyday edits. And then when we're getting down into like AI generative noise reduction or masking of the eyebrows or eyes and skin, we're getting into those deeper features now that we can certainly do, I'm sure. And I, would hope we definitely can. Culling, I'm really, really excited to let you know, like we're really close to releasing a build finally that has a culling mode. So you can like open your program up or open up a project into manual mode. And, for those there are people who still cull in Lightroom. I'm like, dude, just open up manual mode. And then when you're in there, we have our flag system, the rating, the colors, and Polarr Next is super fast going from image to image. You can easily cull in Polarr Next way faster than Lightroom. And then when you're done culling in manual mode, then you can go to the top right, click that drop down, and then use AI style. But our culling mode that we're coming out with is going to have grouping. It's going to have the AI ability to rate photos. It'll detect it'll detect focus. So I'm actually really excited to, hopefully I can show you real soon, but it's coming, and it's going to be huge because I use narrative, and very much like you with culling, like I like to group, cull through groups and stuff like that. Just makes it feel so much faster. And I love narrative, but to be able to have it all in one place and I don't have to jump back and forth, it's going to be huge. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
All right. So towards the end here, I would just love to hear any final, just raw thoughts about Polarr Next. If it's someone, you're talking to someone who's like hesitant about using AI or checking out Polarr Next, or you just want to say something about your experience, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm just really grateful that I got to kind of try this program. It's still in beta, and so talking through some of the key features that are really, really useful, pinpointing some of the things that maybe need improvement. It's neat to see how you can make those adjustments to a program that is only going to continue to grow and go farther. I've really enjoyed working with it so far. It's helped me speed up my workflow in a lot of areas. So taking galleries and just kind of having consistency throughout them, and then the ability to go in and make those changes where I see fit is, I don't know, it helps a lot with like time. We talked a lot about time and storage, just not having everything like on different hard drives and on my desktop, and I can see it happening in real time. The photos are processing on my computer. They're exporting really quickly. And so that's just been a pleasant experience to like edit with and deliver photos to clients and know that, it looks just like the rest of my work that I've edited in other programs and tweaked in other programs, and feel really confident about that. So yeah, I've really liked it. I think it's something that I would like to share, with my fellow photographer friends. I think that it has a place in the industry. I think it's going to hopefully kind of be an all-in-one spot, like we all want, like we're all looking for.
Awesome. I know. I was like, I wonder if she's like trying to search for more things to say. That was really, really good. And I'm happy to hear that it's something that you would love to share. We're trying to go that organic roots way.
I'm not just saying I like it. Like I've enjoyed working with it. I've enjoyed taking a little bit of that stress off of the editing process and being like, oh my God.
Nice. Yee. All right. Well, Carly, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time and willing to work with our schedules and just getting it done. I look forward to hearing from you in the future very soon because, once culling comes out, I'm going to send you the link. I'm going to let you know and would love to hear your feedback on that. But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today and exploring Carly's incredible journey through photography and her experience with Polarr Next. We hope you enjoyed watching Carly bring her unique style to life and hearing her insights on how Polarr Next could potentially become a vital part of her workflow. If you found this session helpful and inspiring, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Don't forget to claim your free 2000 export credits by using the link below to sign up for Polarr Next. We love to hear what you think about our program, so leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you in the next video.